So it's just occurred to me that the original video I can't actually put hands on, so I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that we were asked to talk about in the brief. So 1 second. American scheme. So an overview of the client. In its most basic form, the client is basically the player side set of code. What it's doing is it's getting packets from the server. It's translating it's basically reading the packets and saying, okay, I need to put a hell point at position XY. It's putting it there, and then if that player is over that, and then it's basically sending back the player's position. That's what it is in a nutshell. Most of my time was spent, as I said in the previous video, in the server. So I've explained most of the stuff. The only other thing I haven't explained was the asteroids in the original game. That original set chunk of code was here. This create random mouse, which creates a random mouse, sets its size, gives it a location and a spawn point, and then sends it towards an area in the middle of the screen with a small variable so that it doesn't go exactly to the middle of the screen. It can go in a small circle, so that it's less easy to predict its trajectory. For some of the stuff, we didn't really do much compression. The only thing I remember us doing was changing the size of like a uint32 to a uint8 so that we weren't sending as big packets as we needed. I'm sure I've probably actually changed that now because I've added a new item that needs to be sent in a packet. Because I've added this health item, it's another chunk of information that needs to be sent. Apart from that, I've showed you the persistence, the write to the text file. It says here that there should be a talk of or a demonstration of the latency and jitter of the game. So if I go into the network manager, I'll throw this to 0.1 and just do a quick build and see if I can find it. Right, built, debug, open a server, open a client, and open another client. This is working too well. I think something has gone wrong here. Let me double check. Save. That is definitely 0.1. Build. They're all up to date. Let's try that again. Apologies for this. So what should be happening is I should be dropping a few more. I'm dropping 0.1 packets. So that's still kind of playable. I'm sure I was having good network conditions when I originally tested. Let's jump it up to 0.4. Save, build. I'm not really great at explaining it, so I just thought showing would be a better. See, now we're dropping that many packets that it's not connecting originally, and there you go. You can see the jumpiness, the jitteriness of the packet loss. I'm guessing it's random packet loss. So now when I die, there we go. We're getting quite large jumps in round trip time as well. I'm not sure what that's about. So that's the drop packet chance. So basically, what's happening there is, if I'm getting, say, 5 packets per second, and I'm dropping, say, 2 of them, I'm losing a significant amount of information. So that's why I was jumping from one point of the scene to the other. If I set that back to 0 and set this to we'll say 3, this should be significant. Basically, what should happen here is I should hit an object, but it'll take a couple of seconds for it to register. So I'll go over a health pack, and it should take like, might take a second or two to. Even then, you can see it on the other. Like there, I'm on the health packet. I've hit 2 asteroids. The significant thing. Now, in a more intensive, like, player versus player game, this wouldn't be usable, because I'd have put. I think we spoke about this in class, that like I would have shot the player first, yet apparently they shot me first. That's what the latency is. Like I pulled the trigger that on my screen, and the player hasn't, but on his screen he's pulled the trigger, but I haven't. That's not a great. And oh wow, the round trip time has taken a massive dive. So that's a brief explanation of the latency. Could it handle it? I think we can handle, I'd say, 0.1 on the simulated latency, and I'd say up to 0.2 on the drop pack chance, and it would still be playable. It wouldn't be great, but it would still be playable. So one of the other things I've asked about was the gameplay. I thought the gameplay was pretty decent from the first game, hence the reason I kept it similar. I thought that there should be more longevity to it, so that's why I decided to add the health packs. Hopefully the in-class demo goes well, and I don't stutter and talk all over myself like I've probably done in most of this screencast. And I can show some of the Git stuff. History. So I took a chance and downloaded a different Git application. I found this quite handy, because when I am committing stuff, I can name the commit, and I can also do a description. I've not known how to do a description in the command line. It's saying I can't commit because I've changed some of the stuff. I'll have to change that. Save. Go back, and there's no changes. I think I've done all right with this second go at this. Again, like the first video, if there's been any major flaws that you've seen that I haven't noticed or haven't realized, please tell me them via comments in the video below if I've put this on YouTube, or via email. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.